So at the National World War II Museum, we receive numerous offers daily for donation inquiries and offers. And I have worked with this particular collection at this institution for 14 years. And so when I started working here at the museum, it was fairly common for us to receive lots of offers from World War II veterans themselves, people who would walk in with material from their own service or from their lives, and they could tell us particulars about that material. Now, more often, we're receiving offers and also material from veterans' families, so the children and grandchildren of veterans. So that's a very different experience than receiving something from the person who used it themselves, from the veteran.
I mean, you know, there are certainly the old-fashioned ways of phone calls and things. I personally like email just so I can have a record. The more succinct and prepared they are, you know, that helps me. Like, hi, I'm a veteran. You know, I served in this branch in this time, and these are what I have to donate. So a lot of them are just like, would you be interested? And then I'm always like, yes, you know, send me an inventory. And then, you know, it's expectations. Make sure that you understand what the repository can do with your materials. But that's, for the initial one is trying to find a good fit that the donor feels comfortable with, and the rules, you know, of the repository and the resources of the repository. You know, I also get a lot of questions of, hey, would you take that? You know, my you know, husband's materials, or you know, military wives, which, you know, need to be preserved. But just, you know, that's not enough my collection focus. So the archivists, you know, we are a friendly people, and I am always trying to help if materials don't fit into the scope. So look, I do research on that.
So when we receive offers from individuals in a variety of ways, we have information on our website, a web form that interested parties can fill out. It asks for specific information. What are you interested in donating to the museum? Whose service is it from? We ask that people who offer material take pictures and document the item and then upload that to our website. We also receive a lot of offers through our email address, of course, Artifact Donations. We have a dedicated email address, which has been very helpful. But most of our inquiries still come through via the phone. And that can be challenging. Sometimes people provide a lot of information about what it is that they have and they're interested in contributing to the museum. But more often than not, the message on the voicemail is, I have something really interesting from the war that you would like to know about. Or I found some material from World War II that I'd like to donate to the museum. So it's very difficult to get a sense initially of what that might be. It could be anything. So the more specific information that our prospective donors supply, the better. That equips us to, that positions us in a better place to be able to come to that conversation informed, so we can research a particular unit or a particular piece of gear or a document and know what we're getting into to further the conversation. And then some of the things that we consider when we're looking at a donation offer, we have to ask ourselves, are we able to store and care for this piece? So if it's something really large, if it is a tank, for instance, or even a Jeep, the needs of that particular piece will be very different than a letter, say, or even 500 letters. So can we care for this piece or pieces that are being offered to us? What's the condition of those items? Here in Southeast Louisiana, but also in general, there are many items that might have suffered during natural disasters, or that have just been improperly stored for the past 70 years, not without preservation concerns in mind. So what's the condition of an item coming into the collection, and will that pose a problem long term? Will the material coming into the collection endanger the other items in the collection? So condition is an important factor that we need to consider when we're looking at an item that we might take into the collection. Another factor is, how does it fit within the collection? So does this add something new or tell us something different about the American experience in World War II? Or do we have many similar items that already tell that story? So fit and duplication, is this something that is unique or new? Or is it something that is very similar to pieces that are already within the collection? So those are some of the important factors that we consider when we take an item in. Also, is there potential for use? So what is the potential for use of a particular item? Is it something that you can use in an exhibit? Is it something that lends itself well to digitization or education? So what are the potential uses for a particular item? That's also very important.
One thing is that I think probably even the National Archives on this issue, the biggest limitation generally with any archival repository is space. So, and then the other thing is, depending on what type of repository, I'm in an academic institution, so we are a research archive. So there's the question of what has research value, and that's, we have to guess what future researchers want, so that's a little tricky, but essentially I might not accept everything you want to do. For my particular case, uniforms are an issue. Uniforms tell veteran stories, but they also take up a lot of space. So now I just only accept the uniform if we don't already have another example of one or copy of one in the repository. So space is an issue. Types of materials. I just want to go on the record saying I hate plaques. There's nothing that I hate more than a plaque. So if you donate a plaque to me, I generally will scan it to get the information off the plaque, but I will not keep the plaque. Also ordnance. I've never had this issue, but I know that the Army Museum will sometimes get ordnance, situation that the widow donates her former husband's stuff, the trunk that he kept all his World War II stuff in, which includes unexploded grenades. So, so those are the big things. Different repositories also have different ideas of what's research worthy. We're, as a department, a little bit more artifact friendly, if that makes sense. Let me just see what else. Inventory expectations.